officers from Vihiga County who have accompanied me to this meeting. My name is Dr. Wilbur Otichilo. I'm the governor for Vihiga County. I would like to give a chance for each one of them to introduce himself or herself, starting with the CEC in charge of education.
Chair, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Ruth Agesa, the CECM for Education, Science, Technical and Vocational Training, Vihiga County.
Chair, I'm Ezekiel Ayego, CS Vihiga County.
Chair, I'm Charles Savedi, Director of Vocational Training, Vihiga County.
Chair, I'm Dominic Lubabo, the Chief Officer, Education, Science, Technical and Vocational Training.
Chair, I'm CPA Isabel Pili, Accountant.
Chair, I'm Dixon Amunga, Director Budget, Vihiga County.
Chair, my name is Agri Musiega, the Account Attorney, Vihiga County.
Chair, I'm Serede Victor, Director, Early Childhood Education.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. I think lead clerk, if you can now tell us why this team is here.
Thank you, Chair, members, Governor. Chair, at the sitting of the Senate held from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the state of vocational team, and we invite, and the questions are as listed. It's on committee paper number 72 on our files. Team, and we invited them for a meeting today to respond to the questions raised by Senator Osotsi. And yeah.
Okay. Yes. All right.
Table the document.
Governor, maybe first things first, if you can table the document. They are officially here with us, and then we can then go into the crust of the matter. All right. I think now we all have the documents from Vihiga County. If we can give them a chance to answer to the Senator's questions. Governor.
Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity. And I'll go straight to the questions as listed in our report. The first question reads as follows. Provide a breakdown of the annual budgetary allocation of the County Government of Vihiga vis-a-vis the actual expenditure for the education sector for the financial years 2019-2020, 2020-2021, 2021-2022, 2022-2023, and 2023-2024, indicating the specific allocation and expenditure for early childhood development and education ECD, county bursaries, Governor's Scholarship Fund, and Vocational Training Centers. So that is the question, and our management response is as follows. The breakdown of annual budgetary allocation vis-a-vis the actual expenditure from the financial year 2019-2020 to 2023-2024, reflecting the specific allocation and expenditure for ECD, bursaries, Governor's Scholarship Fund, and VTC is hereby summarized and tabled below. So on table 1, Madam Chair, is the annual budgetary allocation for the County Government of Vihiga vis-a-vis the actual expenditure. On under early childhood, we have given the budget allocated up to the one of 2023-2024. We have done the same for county before. Equally, Governor's Scholarship and Vocational Training Centers. A note below is that the budget allocated COVID-19 outbreak that led to the closure of schools across the country. So that is table number 1. If we go to table number, we were asked to give capitation that was given to VTCs. We have given capitation for VTCs. We had at that time a national government grant and county capitation. So for the year 2019-2020, we had a government capitation of 67,743,298, and it was all spent. Equally the same, we had the same amount, and during the 2020-2021, we had county capitation where we gave 69 million, and it was already spent. So that gives for the whole up to 2023. So that is question number 1. Chair, if you allow, then I'll go to question 2. Question 2, we were required to give a report of the current state of the vocational training centers and other related institutions in Vihiga County, providing a schedule of the capitation funds as well as training materials and equipment received by the respective institutions in the aforementioned financial years. Our management response is as follows. The County Government of Vihiga has a total of 34 VTCs with an enrollment of 5,200. So, Madam Chair, table 2A shows the enrollment in all our VTCs for the year under review. So that goes up to page goes up to page 11. And we see page 11, we have 34 VCTs. And then below we have the schedule of the capitation funds, training materials, and equipment received by the respective institutions in the aforementioned financial years as at 26th September 2024 is tabled as below. So on table 2C, you will see the capitations that we have given to our VTCs and materials that were bought for that period for all the 34 VTCs. And that goes to it goes up to page, unfortunately, it goes up to page 23. It goes up to page 23 of 34. I hope you have found it. It's the way it is filed, the pagination is inside. It goes up. And then third question.
Madam Chair, I wanted your guidance. Whether we write down the questions that we want to raise.
Yes, kindly.
As per.
So that we save on time. Okay. Just indicate, where you need a clarification, where you have a question. Just indicate somewhere.
Okay. Because I thought if the question is raised, we deal with it, we finish. But if you guys.
Chair, can I proceed? Yes, sure. The third question reads as follows. Provide a monthly break to employees of the Vocational Training Centers and other related institutions in 2019-20 to 2023 to 2024. Actions to the relevant institutions and explaining any salary arrears. The management response is as follows. Those, I'm on page 25. Those employed by have those employed by the respective VTC boards of government of trainers in the VTCs. So these are employment. So table 3A gives a summary of this, and we have given per sub-county. We have those who are on permanent and pensionable, those who are on contract, and those who are on BOG. Period 2019 to 2021, majority of the VTC trainers who are on contract were employed on taken by the Vihiga County Public Service Board in early in March 2021. The following is a summary of monthly to 2023 to 2024 on table to VTC trainers for the period 2019 to 2020. We have indicated in that table that as up to June 20, in terms of salaries for our employees. So that completes question number 3. Can I move on? Yes, thank you. Question number 4, we were expected to provide a breakdown of all liabilities owed by vocational training centers and other related institutions. Our management response is as follows. Some VTC owe suppliers as a result of poor payment for lunch program and delayed disbursement of capitation as tabled below. So table 4.1 gives a summary of liabilities owed by VTCs to suppliers. So we've given a total from number 1 to number 19, and Madam Chair, in total, these VTCs owe suppliers 13,527,429. Table 4.2 gives specific liabilities owed by to suppliers. So the first table gives the total, but now the second 4.2 gives for each. So that table reads all the way 32, page 32. Then, Madam Chair, the last question reads like, outline any steps taken by the County Government of Vihiga to ensure improved funding and management of VTCs for guaranteed quality and competence-based education and training. Madam Chair, allow me to request the CEC in charge of education to cover that question.
Madam Chair, I'll move on with the question, the response of question 5. The management response is as follows. The county government developed capitation policy which enables the department budget for capitation to enable the institutions to operate effectively. The overall objective of the capitation to VTCs is to ensure access, quality, relevance, and equity in vocational skills acquisition to the youth in Vihiga County. The capitation is also an incentive to enable access to retention of trainees in VTCs as they undergo quality skills training. This one, we have the capitation policy is Annex 5A. It's on in the file. 5.2 is the county government is in the process of developing county vocational training bill to access the funding gaps occasioned by the discontinuation of the conditional grant during financial year 2021-2022 by the Ministry of Education and other emerging issues in the TVET sector. We also have the bill attached. It's in draft form 5B, Annex 5B. 5.3, we have construction of modern infrastructure in VTCs commencing with storied building at Jebkose VTC and construction of twin workshops with administration block at Busaina VTC to promote implementation of competency-based education and training. This one can be seen on Annex 5C with the sample photos of the constructions. 5.4, procurement of modern tools and equipment for the upcoming VTCs to facilitate implementation. Chair, we'll see this in Annexes 5D, which is showing acknowledgement of receipts of tools and VTCs that were given. 5.5, 64 trainers serving on contract to permanent and pensionable terms to and training. The list of the confirmed to permanent and pensionable terms of trainers is also annexed on 5E. Continuous capacity building of trainers and managers on the new competency-based of education and training also is there. Then 5.7, the county government will progressively increase budgetary allocation to VTCs to address the challenges and facilitate the implementation of competency-based education and training. 5.8, the county has embraced partnership to support funding of programs in VTCs. For some of the partnerships include the following. 1, training of 18 trainers on digital skills program as training of trainers, that's TOTs. It has been done by Stanbic Bank Foundation, American Tower, we have the training engagement and commitment form attached at the full sponsorship of 448 trainees in 11 VTCs, that is Kevee, Nzalwa, Emukunzi, Ebsiralo, Mudete, Givigoi, Mwambeva, by Shining Hope for Communities. This one is a partner, that's SHOFCO, and there's also the annexes attached, that's 5G. That's the SHOFCO attendance register for our county. Internet connectivity at Kaimosi Vocational Training Center by Kenya Education. The form, it's also attached, that is a 5H. The competency-based education and training under Young African Works Program by MasterCard Foundation and Colleges and Institutes Canada, SINCAN, in collaboration with Kenya School of TVET and College Kaimosi. That's an excess of 5I, capacity building of trainers on the CBET. Thank you.
You're done?
Yes, thank you.
Good, thank you. Members, so that we go in an organized manner, and we had already indicated that people put their questions down. Let's give the first shot to Senator Utsotsi, who was the one who requested for these responses.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I must thank the Governor.
Sorry, Senator Utsotsi, I'm very sorry. Let me just stop you for a minute. Professor, I am profusely sorry. Kindly go on record. I'm so sorry.
Professor Margaret Kamal, Senator. And welcome.
Thank you. Now, Senator.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Professor. One, I must thank the Governor and the team for a very comprehensive response to the issues that I raised. In fact, Chair, when I first saw this response 2 weeks ago, I thought that maybe we would not need to have this session. But in the wisdom of the committee, we are here today. So I just have a few clarifications Question number one, this on budgetary allocation to the education sector. Maybe we would need to know how much of this, it's showing the column for budgeted and what has been spent. There is an amount that has been spent. I believe this is actual expenditure, maybe for the current financial year. How much has been disbursed so far to these institutions in terms of expenditure for the current year. Number two, there is a breakdown of allocation for ECDs, county bursaries, governor scholarship, and the vocational training centers. Now, considering the budget constraints that we are experiencing in the management of ECDs and vocational training centers, maybe, Governor, you can clarify to us what steps the county government is taking to ensure that the county only focuses on devolved functions. That is the ECDs and vocational training centers, and the funds which are directed to bursaries and scholarship are spent on those two functions. Given the challenges we are having, I know, for example, the ECDs, we have challenges on their remuneration and even infrastructure, and the ECDs, as you have seen, we have challenges. So what steps is the county government taking to ensure, I know Professor Kamara has a motion on that, to ensure that the county only focuses on those two key functions? I know it's a political issue, and I've always said that we would rather put our resources in devolved functions and do them well, and leave the bursaries to the national government, the CDF and the others. So maybe that would be a substantial clarification that I would need from the county government of Vihiga. Question number two is on the issue of capitation and support for materials and equipment to this institution. I know the breakdown is really comprehensive, but I would want clarification on an institution called Senende Vocational Training Center, which currently is being housed in a church. So maybe we can have clarification on what the county government is doing about that, so that they are housed in maybe the county government. The same applies by the name Munugi. Munugi, the information I have is that it's housed in our primary school, Munugi Primary School. So what is housed in a school, and maybe others, they have land that is allocated to them. Others like Mohanda, Kabinjari, and Vigeze, access road to those institutions. So what is the county government vocational training centers? And given the challenges that we have, those VTC and for more funding, so that if possible we can have maybe one properly resourced and managed this ward, as opposed to having so many, some of which are adequately funded and the resource. And the last question, Madam Chair, is these are actually clarifications. The last clarification is on question number 3, which is talking about the salaries to the employees of the institutions. I know the employees are in 3 categories. We have the permanent and pensionable, contract, and BOG. Whether currently as stated, because I know in table 3B, there's a breakdown that shows there is no arrears. That is up to the year ended 2024, 2023, 2024. Maybe, Governor, you can tell us about the current status. Do we have any salary arrears or arrears for statutory deduction that are pending currently? And on question number 4, the breakdown of liabilities, the amount is coming to 13.5 million. The liabilities owed by these VTCs to contractors. Now that ties into my very first question, where I was asking about the current status of disbursement, whether that disbursement can cover this. Were satisfactory. And Madam Chair, I have verified these responses. Okay. But just those clarifications is what I would want to have. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I think we give the governor's team, because that would be the most elaborate person who will query your document. Can you respond to Senator Osotsi first before we give other members?
Thank you, my Senator Godfrey Osotsi, for asking those clarifications, and thank you, Chair, for giving me a chance to be able to respond. As regards to the budgetary allocation for this financial year, I have the Director of Budget is with me here. I would like to ask him to respond on that. And then we have also budgetary constraints, what steps we are taking to focus on ECD and vocational training centers rather than giving money to bursaries to those students who go to high school. Yes, I want to agree with the Senator that this is a matter that is of major concern to us as a government, because our devolved functions are only ECD and vocational training centers. But the public on the ground, supported by MCAs, insist that we must have bursary. We have tried personally to block, to not to allow, and a motion of impeachment was prepared. So I had it withdraw. So it's something that I believe the Senate should be able to help us, and I'm happy. I've heard that Professor Margaret has a motion on that. I would really encourage you to do it, because for sure we are directing monies to not our devolved function. In fact, most of our monies end up going to the bursaries. So that's something that the Senate should be able to help us to focus on. On the issue of capitation for various vocational training centers, including Senende, Munugi, Muhanda, I will ask the CEC in charge. If not the CEC, we have the chief officer who will be able to tell us what is going on. As regards aggregating the 34 VCTs into manageable or into fewer so that we can give better service is also something that as a government we have wanted to do. But again, Madam Chair, the MCS come with these programs where they say they want a VT, each MCA wants a VTC in their ward. And anytime you try to resist and say you can use the next one, then you have a problem. So again, there becomes a political issue, and it becomes difficult for us to move forward. But as a government, what we have decided is that every sub-county would have a model VTC, and we have already chosen. For Luanda, we have Maseno, which is a model VTC. In Mwehaya, we have Emukusi. Vihiga, we have Keve. And then Hamisi, we have Kaimosi. Those we have equipped them, and actually they are the ones we are using with this donor fund, all these development partners are coming to support us to make them real model VTC centers. The issue of salaries, whether they are current, the chief officer is here, will be able to respond to that. Equally to liabilities of 13 million to our suppliers, the chief officer would respond. So let's start with the director of budget.
Thank you, Chair. On the issue of budgetary support, yes, in this financial year, we have allocated a total of 40 million shillings towards capitation and 30 million shillings towards VTCs and 10 million shillings towards ECDs. So, for a matter of requisition and support to the VTCs, I think in the August requisitions, requisition is going to be made, especially now, towards the first clearance of those pending bills. Then in the subsequent supplementary budget we are going to have in the first supplementary budget, we are also going to make additional funding towards capitation towards VTCs of the county government. Thank you, Chair.
Next, allow the CEC in charge of education to respond on the issues of those VTCs that are said to be operating in different areas and not official areas.
Madam Chair, thank you. It's true what our senator has said on the issue of Senende and Munugi, one operating in the church and also another one with the primary. But kindly allow me to let the CEO respond to all of them, plus even the ones that are not having accessibility to the institutions. Thank you.
So, Chief Officer, you can respond on that. Also on salaries, on employment, or on the employees, whether it's current as of now.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. On the issue of the VTCs that are operating, one was Senende, which is operating in a church. The church had given the land to the VTC, but what we are doing as a county, we want to do it formally so that we take possession of that land. So the church has agreed, so plans are in high gear to acquire that land so that it's converted to be county government property. On the issue of Munugi VTC is operating in a primary school compound. What we are doing is we are doing title deed separation so that we allocated our land for the Monugi VTC, which is actually housed in the primary school. So within a year or so, we shall have that done. We separate the title deeds. On the issue of access roads to Mohanda, Kabinjari, and Vigeze, Honorable Chair, Mohanda is accessible. It's actually the tarmac to Mohanda VTC. Kabinjari, the road is also accessible, and even Vigeze, apart from just a few areas which are usually washed away during the heavy rainfall. But all the institutes now are accessible. Now, on the issue of the salaries for our staff, both permanent and pensionable, contract and BOG employed staff, I want to confirm to this committee that all our VTC employees have been paid up to the period of reporting. And even for the P&P and contract staff, as we are speaking, their salary is up to date. Apart from a few BOG employees who have not been paid for the last month, basically waiting for the request of capitation so that they are cleared their arrears in case they are there for this financial year. There was a question on whether the current disbursement will be able to cover the liabilities owed to suppliers by these VTCs, that is 13 million. I want to confirm that in this year's budget, as explained by the director budget, we are confident that these liabilities will be taken care of. Thank you.
All right. Are you through?
Yes.
Senator
Yes.
Osotsi, are you satisfied?
Yes, I am satisfied with the responses, Madam Chair. Just maybe to encourage the governor to help us deal with this problem. I know the political aspect to it. I'm very much appreciative of that. But you know, we must focus on what is devolved. I sit in a committee, I chair a committee where we've been looking at bursaries in counties. And I know we have a lot of challenges, not just in Vihiga, but all other counties which are running bursary programs. And our view as people who do oversight is that we need to focus more on ECDs and vocational training centers. I know, for instance, in Vihiga, we have had a challenge with the ECD teachers, and if that money was extended to that program, then that challenge will go away. I think the MCS can still exercise their political influence by investing more in ECDs and vocational training centers than bursaries, because if we have many classrooms being constructed for ECDs and we have well-equipped functional VTCs, that will still improve their political standing rather than focusing on a program that is a national government program. I am alive to the fact that we have students who need support, but I think as a legislature, we need to separate the two so that bursary is purely a national government function and counties only focus on what is devolved. And I know Governor, being in the second term, he's better placed to, with my support, he is better placed to ensure this is done, because it is painful to me that every weekend when I go home, I am confronted by ECD teachers who are complaining about one or two things. So I think it's an area that we need to support the counties And Senator Professor Kamar has a motion on that, which I will fully support, that bursary programs should not be a function of counties. It should be purely a function of national government. After all, we have enhanced the allocation to CDF tremendously, and they can do that. The pressure should ease off from counties so that they focus there.
Madam Chair, Otsotsi is a friend of this committee. Yes. He has taken the ownership of the committee.
No, members, you'll forgive me. My opinion usually is that, the interest of the member who asked the question supersedes any other. My thinking. Members will give you time, but it's very crucial that the member gets satisfied with the responses.
I'm finishing. The last one is just those particular schools, the VTCs which are hosted in other institutions, the churches and the schools. Those are the few I managed to get. But if there are others, I think it's a high time that the county government fast tracks the issue of land ownership of these institutions, so that you do not continue appropriating money to an institution that is sitting on a title owned by someone else or another institution. So I think I just want to encourage them to continue doing what you're doing. In terms of consolidation, I know again is a challenge, but I think to be fair, if we have one VTC per ward that is well managed, I think that would be very sufficient than having so many of them spread all over. That would be my wish as a senator of Vihiga, based on the complaints that I received from the public. We will talk to the MCAs about this.
Thank you, Senator Osotsi. Your wish, you may get a chance to implement that, God willing, maybe in future. You never know. Let me take this time first to allow Senator Agnes to register her presence. Then we will give members time for the questions.
Thank you, Chair. Let me say I'm sorry for coming a bit late, but I was held up in my county. I had a big meeting of ladies of AIC, and they sent me with greetings when I come to the Senate. Can I ask one question?
I will not allow you your question first because you came in last. I'll give the members who are there first. You've not yet introduced yourself.
Sorry, I only gave greetings. My name is Agnes Kavindu Mudhama, the Senator Machakos County, and a member of this committee.
Thank you very much. Now, members, I will give a chance either to Commissioner Kinyua or Mwaruma to go first.
Okay, let me go first. Thank you, Madam Chair. I was concerned with table 1A, where you indicated that I look at the financial year 2020/2021, where scholarship of the governor was underutilized, and the reason you are giving is because of the outbreak. But looking at the others, like for example, they were well spent. I did not get. It's only your scholarship that was underutilized, but the others were properly utilized, and you're telling me the schools were closed. I didn't get that. Maybe you can clarify that. Another thing I was looking, you say in question number 3, I'm looking at the classification of these VTC trainers, and I'm seeing we have PNP contract BOG. So how are these BOG recruited, and what's their payment vis-a-vis permanent and pensionable? to ensure that we have uniformity in terms of the people we are recruiting to train our students. Looking at table 3B, I'm impressed by Vihiga County. I'm seeing we don't have arrears up to June 2024, they have indicated. Where other counties are complaining about the disbursement from the national government, it seems Vihiga, they're getting their money on time, and they're extremely happy. From your report that I'm reading, that is that. Madam Chair, this is for us. In future, I would recommend, unlike my friend Otsotsi, maybe because he's the person who asked this question, I would prefer we are furnished with the answers, these answers, we go through them, because these answers are voluminous, so that we can interrogate them, instead of getting ambushed in 2-3 minutes. But I'm happy at least the person who asked questions, the senator of the area, is happy with the answers that he has gotten. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Chair, can I go? So answer all of them.
So that there's not all of them, yes, okay. Okay,
time,
okay, Senator Moreno.
Yeah, Chair, welcome the delegation from Vihiga. I've always said that I'm a friend of Vihiga because I've supported many students in St. Joseph's Vihiga, about 300, because St. Joseph's Vihiga Teachers Training College, to go through the education. They gave me a very good package. So I've gone there almost 5 times. So I'm a friend of Vihiga. Karibu sana. Maybe my first comment, Chair, would be from page 26 of 34, where Commissioner Kinyo has said that Vihiga is doing very well. They're able to pay the employees in time, plus the statutory deductions. And I'm wondering, Governor, if this is what is obtaining for the other county employees, like the doctors, medics, and so on. If that is the what is happening, then I think people or governors should go and benchmark in Vihiga. Number 2, Senator also, don't be worried. When you bring a statement here, it becomes our statement. We have been going around the country looking at the performance of VTCs, ECDs, and special needs education schools. And so, in fact, the best way of canvassing or prosecuting this statement is even to go to Vihiga, so that you can corroborate some of this information. So don't think that you're ending it here. One time we might get opportunity to go and see if what is presented here is what is obtaining there. Number 3, Chair, is on this table on page 2 of 34. When I look at the the budgets and allocations for ECDE in the year 2021, it was 231. Then it dropped a bit for ECD, that was 231 million. In 2021, 2022, it went to 200 million. And then 2022, 2023, it went to 233. Then 2023, 2024, it went to 317. So maybe something just happened in 2021. That's why it went down. But there is an upward trajectory for the budgets. However, this is not the situation in VTC, because from 2020-2021, it is going down 192 million in 2021. Then something happened in 2021 and 2022, because for both there was a dip. Then in 2022-2023, there was 136 million. That is lower than 192 in 2020-2021. And then 2023-2024, it is even lower, 122 million. Why is the budget dipping? What is the problem? Is there a problem, or then maybe you have satisfied the needs of the VTCs, and that's why maybe you are keeping it in abeyance and maybe concentrate on VTCs? What is the situation as it obtains in Vihiga? Thank you, Chair.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the governor and his team, I worked in the 10th Parliament with the governor, and we did so many other things before and during my sitting there. So I would have been surprised if his answers were not thorough. Yeah, he's a very thorough person by nature, so I'm very appreciative of that. In relation to my motion, he's one of the governors I hope will be our champions to do the thing that must be done, to ensure that we actually do what is devolved, because I know he was very passionate about devolution in the 10th Parliament. But there is a message that doesn't seem to be going down to the counties, Madam Chair, so that they see the importance of VCTs. I just wanted to ask a small question which the CEC may be knowing. How many primary schools do we have in Vihiga? Primary schools. In fact, if you knew primary schools and secondary schools, does anybody have those figures? And while they're looking for that, the reason VCTs are important is because of the dropout from class 8. Even today, Madam Chair, nobody will employ a class 8 to be a driver in government. Government drivers must have Form 4. So there is we have a lot of youth that drop out of class 8 and go nowhere. So that the relationship between our VCTs and primary schools must be in relation to the transition from primary to secondary. And if you don't have those figures, CEC, you must have them at your fingertips. This is the message the MCS must be told, that we have a lot of youth, and Vihiga is one of our very fertile areas. Both the population is very high, and they are very healthy children because the food is very good. But those kids after class 8, where do they go? If the primary children are not transiting to the secondary school, the only hope they have is the VCT. And it is only through the VCT that they can turn around to be somebody's. So our insistence in this committee that VCTs must be funded and that we forget about bursaries is because it's the only hope for the majority of the poor families in this country. It's the only hope. And you will find that between your primary schools and secondary schools, not 50% of the children go to secondary. Look for those figures and ask yourself, so where is the 50% of the Vihiga children? And that's why I want to persuade my colleague senator that 34 is very low for Vihiga, because you have over 100 primary schools. I'm aware of that one. So you must have 50% of the primary schools having VCTs around. A VCT is very important because of the high dropout and low transition that we have to secondary schools. Our highest population is very low, but it's the most uneducated. So we cannot afford to have them having no skill. And if we can get this message to the MCAs and have a campaign, Governor, because you are going to be our champion, you are in round 2, and I don't think there is anything for you to fear, because you are always a very bold character. You can now tell them, let's go, move on. If it comes to the House, by the way, you will never be impeached. This committee, this committee will stand by you. Yeah, this committee will stand by you, and you will not be impeached. So the message we must give to our MCS is, we want to look for, have a campaign that you are searching for the from class 8 dropout as a governor, and you will have left your legacy. That you are in a campaign to search for class 8 dropout and clean that system, so that when senator decides to be governor, he will come to a very smooth ground. So relationship between primary school and VCTs must be 50%. Then when I see the figures, and I've worked on these figures for many years, from when I was a minister there. Then the other one that on table 1, that I think the governor should pay attention to, we have said the county bursaries. they are back to 100,000. If you look at the relationship between what the bursaries are, which is 135.7 million, and what the early childhood is taking, it is only a difference of 100 million. Please relook at our early childhood. These are the children which even during devolution discussions we said nobody will care to take care of them. In schools, they were in the worst classroom. There's classroom that did not have, that had potholes inside the class, holes on the walls, went to the early childhood. And that's why we said, let the governors who are very close to the home and close to the families take charge of that. We didn't want national government to take care of ECD for that purpose. So please look for a way of increasing that. I don't think we have optimized, and we have traveled as this committee to counties, and it's always shocking us that even in some schools, and Senator will tell you, PP1 are facing one wall and PP2 are facing the other wall. They learn nothing. They all want to play. So when the others laugh, what do the others do? Laugh. Yeah. So we really need to pay attention to them and build them to be wonderful Kenyans in future. Page 25. Page 25, again, in relation to how we fund our VCTs. Looking at these teachers, and again, MCS must be told that we cannot afford to have 173 staff under the county government and 94 under the BOG. It means more than 50% of those who are hired are under BOG, because 94 versus 173. It means you are also overtaxing the parents to raise money. VCT should be free, because that's the only thing that attracts you to go there. If you tell the youth you are going to a free, for free education, they will come. But you cannot campaign and again go to the parents to pay. So please, let's close in and have 0 POG teachers. Let's expand this ratio. I was looking for that strategy, but I didn't get the strategy that you are using to reduce the payment by parents, so that we actually have all teachers as instructors paid for by the county government. That way, these VCTs will be attractive, because we are being told that they are not attractive. Sometimes we give the excuse, oh, they are not attractive, but it is because of payment. Every parent says, umemaliza class 8, wacha yule mwingine amalize class 8. So we really face those kind of things, and so that attracted my attention, that we still have too many being paid for by the BOG. Again, 173 divided by 34 institutions gives you only 5. Do we have 5 teachers with 5 trade qualifications? Are they teaching only one trade, or are there areas where you have 2 teachers for one? In which case, we could be faced with a situation where some VCTs are teaching only 2 trade tests. And if you teach 2 trade tests, you will have locked the children of the neighborhood.
Let's take care of time.
Yes.
Kindly, Professor.
Yeah. So,
Chair, I'm enjoying the contribution by the professor.
Thank you. But I hope I've convinced you that 34 is too low for Vihiga. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Agnes, kindly.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Mine is just to encourage the governor with his team that even as you give bursaries because of politics, kindly make sure that it will be on the minimum, but majority of the funds go to the ECD schools and VTC, because that is your docket. This other one is not your docket. So if you can concentrate more on that. And that is what we are saying. We went with this team, this committee, to Machakos County, and they know what they saw. Actually,
even what Professor has just said about the transition from class 8 to secondary and university. I have a statement at the Senate asking how many students fall out from primary school and secondary school, and where do they go? Who takes care of these students? And so I think the right place for these children to be taken care of is at the county level, because that is where you are very near, very close to them. The MCRs are there, the MPs are there, and you governors are there, and you should be concerned about those students, because at the end of the day, if they don't get anything to do, then the people come back and start disturbing the neighborhood. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, members. Now, so that we sum up our questions, Governor, one of my questions was taken care of by Senator Kinyua when he asked about I think it was around COVID time, the 2020, 2021, when you talked about expenditure, and you particularly said the governor's scholarship was not expended then as much because of COVID, and so students were home. But a little ahead on table 1B, the capitation budget to VTCs, your indications were that the money was spent, in other areas. So if money was spent, what was happening? But I think Senator Kinyua had put the same question, so we'll get a response. The second question was about when you look at your budget, there is a discrepancy between your submissions and the COB report with regards to 2023-2024 budget allocations and expenditures. So that one you can see there's a bit of difference. If you can explain the discrepancy between your expenditures or whatever you have submitted and the COB report with regards to that budget, the budget allocations and the expenditures. If you can take I don't know how long you'll take, but kindly let's try, because members are reporting back to chamber. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions you have raised, and I want to thank Margaret for giving us a very good lecture on how to deal with this matter. And I think I will consider to invite you to come and talk to the MCS, because I think you will convince them, because what we have said is very convincing. Yeah. Now, on scholarship expenditure, I think I will leave to the director of budget to give the details on why there is that variance. And also on COB, I think he's the one who deals with the budget and the COB, so he should be able to tell us what is the difference. And then the issue of BOG teachers, I think in terms of salary differences, I think I'll ask the chief officer to be able to respond on that. In terms of disbursement, what we have given here is disbursement up to June 2024. And up to June 2024, we have received all our allocations from the national government. We have received. It's only from July that we have not received to date. And also the budgetary drop in the VTCs, I think also the director of budget should be able to give us why that discrepancy. And then the issue of the primary schools, how many primary schools we have, and the ratios Margaret was talking about. We have the C's here. She was a director in education for many years, so you may know her. Yeah. So she will be able to respond to it. So let's start by the Director of Budget.
Thank you, Chair. Now, on the issue of expenditure of financial year 2020-2021, if you look at that annexure where there is that budgetary allocation, you will be able to find that for the governor's scholarship that goes towards students, but for the rest of for the VTC, if you look at the details of that budgetary allocation, it includes things about salaries plus all those components that continue to be paid during that particular financial year, including the capitation that was gotten from the national government. So that's why we are reporting that the entire 192 was particularly spent because salaries during that particular time continue to be paid. Then on the issue about the increase in ECD allocations, yes, I can be able to confirm that if you look at our allocations, especially towards salaries to ECDs, they've kept on increasing. And even the programs that are directly targeted towards the ECD programs, especially the construction of the infrastructure of the ECDs, have continued over time. And again, during financial year 2022-2023 and 2023-2024, there was a deliberate effort by the county government to clear pending bills, especially towards education sector. So that allocation is also earmarked to be able to clear the pending bills towards that particular sector. So that's why you've seen a general increase in ECD's allocation and even capitation towards ECD and acquisition of equipments for ECDs. Now, the same for VTCs. Yes, there was that aspect about the capitation from the national government, but once it was stopped, the county government now has embarked on its facilitation towards the program of VTC. And if you can be able to say the trend is not that low, but due to the budgetary constraints of the County Govt of Vihiga, not necessarily constraints, but the resource envelope, we are targeting that even in this first supplementary budget, we are going to increase allocations towards the VTC. That was the commitment when we were doing our CFSP and the budgetary information. I think those were the questions around the budget. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Chair. There was a question on how employment is done for our trainers. I just want to inform the committee that it has been standardized across the country based on the TVET Authority Qualifications Framework of 2019, and therefore the county government and even the Board of Governors in various VTCs adopt that framework. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would like to report in Vihiga County, we have 397 public primary schools and 59 private schools. That's primary. That's amounting to 456, yeah, for primary. And as you had heard, I think the VTCs are 34. The ECDs are 410. So there's that.
Okay. Any member who has not had, sorry, any person who has not had a response to the questions they've asked?
Chair,
yeah.
My Director of Budget didn't answer the discrepancy between COB and, so let him answer.
Sorry, Chair, I have forgotten that. In fact, my senior Lemoti has even reminded me. Now, on the COB, I want to believe that if you look at our budget, our program-based budget, some components that we may have captured under administration program may not have been captured maybe by the control of budget under the ECD or the TVET sector. But they are under administration, but could be directly linked to ECD or TVET. That could be the discrepancy. But the figures are just okay.
Like the governor's scholarship, where is it?
covered well, the governor's scholarship?
For the governor's scholarship, we usually, last financial year we captured it under administration, but this financial year we've rightly put it under either TVET or ECD. But now it is linked either to either side of the program. So that could be where the discrepancy is coming from. Yeah.
All right. I believe yes, Senator Osotsi.
Thank you. Sorry. There's one clarification which I had forgotten to raise, Madam Chair. If you look at the budget from 2019 to 2023-2024, then you realize that in 2019-2020 and 2020-2021, the budgets for VTCs was high. And you realize that the same time that counties used to receive national government grants, it was 67 million and then it went to 69 million. So that is a period that you could say the VTCs were well funded because the budget for the county was high and again the national government grant was coming. But with the time, that budget has gradually been reducing as the number of VTCs increases. So maybe that is another clarification you need to tell us, Madam Agesa, so that we can now see the projection, the budget and the number of VTCs that were there, and why it has gradually been reducing, because my view is that the allocation to the county has also been increasing from 2019 to present. Maybe that clarification can come out very clearly.
And that should sum the responses kindly.
Madam Chair, it's true what our senator is saying. The monies have been going down, but and as the VTCs have been increasing, kindly allow me to request the budget director to respond to that.
Thank you, Chair. Now, towards that is that once the capitation from the national government ceased to exist, now we were to cater for all these expenditure under the equitable share and the on-source revenue. And due to the many challenges of the programs that were supposed to be funded, that's why we've got some reductions towards this particular funding. But from this financial year that we just started, the 2024-2025, we've got a deliberate attempt to be able to increase this funding as per the needs of the capitation, because now that capitation is supposed to be directly linked to the students. So that's what we are currently doing. Then during the first supplementary budget, we'll be able to equate the capitation with the needs of all the students in these particular debates. Thank you, Chair.
Right. Thank you very much. I think as the Senator Professor had indicated, a number of us have great faith in Governor Otichilo. We were with him even in the 11th Parliament, and he did very well. And so we expected Vihiga to be organized, as it looks like it is very organized. Thank you very much, and welcome again. Members, we are done, and we are going to adjourn until the date of the next meeting, which shall be communicated. Thank you very much. Thank you.